Hi guys! So today's video is going to be a get ready, kind of sit down with me. I know that I have been kind of MIA from here, and I explained, I wasn't just MIA from YouTube, I was MIA from Instagram and my blog, and I'll get into that later. But I did an update on those two platforms as to where I was and what was going on. I didn't do one here, so it's only right that I'm doing this. Y'all know I don't really do a lot of makeup videos on here. It's not an area where I feel like I have that much expertise, but I figured it's the best way for me to just talk. And because I have no sense of time, I adopted that lovely gene from my mother. I'm gonna set a timer because I know I could just be yapping and not do nothing, and I actually am on a time constraint today. So let's see if I can get through this, talk to you guys, and actually do my makeup at the same time. So I'm gonna take these off. I have a photo shoot today, so I like to prep my skin a lot the day before a photo shoot. I guess that makes sense. And I usually do ice for those who have like big kind of bold eyes like me, and I'll do these under eye different patchology. I have that one's called Happy Place. I have one that's called Perk Up, and then I have another one that's called Downtime for different reasons, and they work really well. My skin feels great. It's pretty clear right now too, for the most part. I got my tea because it is kind of cold, and it has caffeine in it. Actually, y'all can help me because y'all are really good at this. I am transitioning from like caffeinated teas to from coffee to caffeinated teas, because I basically, like, I guess it's kind of weird, and maybe not so much, because I know coffee has more caffeine in it than maybe caffeinated. What's wrong with me? Than caffeinated teas. And after a while, as much as I feel like I need coffee because I'm an adult and I work in the real world, it does start to affect my skin in a negative way. So I'm trying to switch to caffeinated teas, and I'm really proud of myself. This whole week I had a very, very small cup of coffee on Friday, and I had 1 cup of caffeinated tea on Monday, and now this is my 2nd cup. It's Saturday for me. By the time you see this, I don't know what it will be. But I'm really just proud of myself, because that would have been an issue for me. So if you guys know of any caffeinated kind of teas, that I could drink. I really don't like, I know black tea is like a popular one. I don't really like it though. See, that's my problem. I like the citrus teas and the teas that have a lot of flavor and all that fun stuff. And they're great. They taste great, but I know they don't have really any caffeine in it, or not as much. So if you know of one, please, 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 please do let me know, because I'm really trying to make that switch. And I think that if I do that, I'll start to see like my skin kind of change. I feel like maybe that's just my issue, but basically it's not that it causes my skin to break out or anything. It's just more so when I drink a lot of coffee, I don't drink enough water as it is. It's just a problem of mine. And caffeine or coffee sometimes dehydrates you, but it also makes my skin very grainy, kind of, and like it gives it this weird texture, not just my face, but like my body. My hand is ashy right now. Oh, we're just gonna ignore that. And I don't like that, and I noticed it. I used to notice that in high school, which is why I never really liked having any form of caffeine in high school. But like I said, I'm an adult now, and I live in the real world, and for me, I drive a lot, and so in order to not, fall asleep in the middle of the day, I need caffeine. Today's look is gonna be a holiday glam kind of look. It's holiday season. I feel like this season is weird. It's like it goes by slowly because it starts so early. It starts like literally the day after Halloween. But then at the same time, I feel like it kind of goes by fast. I never get to do all the holiday season things that I want to do. I'm using a facial oil. I don't normally use this, but I have a photo shoot later on this afternoon, and it's going to be outside, and it's pretty cold, so I needed a little bit more moisture in my face, and I find that the facial oil do that a lot better than sometimes my moisturizer. So, pat this in. But, yeah, I don't get to do all the holiday things. Like, I feel like I live near the city, for any of those who are watching who aren't from this area. That's where I live, in New York City. I everyone in this area, okay, New Jersey, New York, we know when we say the city, there's only one the city, that is New York City. And all of the like fun holiday events I would always like to do, but I just never get to them. So I feel like the season doesn't go by as fast as, it goes by a little too fast for me. But, you know, I'm starting everything early here, vlogging early, doing gift guides, doing all that fun holiday stuff for my blogging purposes. So maybe that will force me to, you know, get out there and start to do some stuff for the holidays before it's over. I use 2 concealers. I like to use this under my eyes before my foundation because this just helps with darkness, and also this little guy here helps with a little swelling. And then I put my foundation over that. But today, we're doing eyeshadow. So I've been gone, and there's a very perfectly good explanation. I'm fine. It's so funny. I left Instagram, right? And I deactivated my Instagram. So just to give you, like, when I say gone, how I was gone on October 1st, I deactivated my Instagram, and I need powder because I sweat up here. I was like, I'm going to be gone to the end of the month. I would have been gone to the 31st, but I had a brand deal that I forgot about. So I had to come back a little bit early. I came back on the 28th because I had to do that deal. And that's still a very long time for me. I'm on Instagram all the time. I work in social media. I'm an influencer. I am using Jaclyn Hill's Morphe palette. I think this is Bling Boss. And I'm probably going to do something a little cranberry-ish. Kind of. So we'll see. I will put down below because I don't really know. I'm going to just wing this, which colors I'm using, and I'll let you know. But I'm also going to just do one eye really quick fast because, like I said, I'm slow when it comes to filming and doing my makeup. I needed a break. I needed to, like, step back. I needed to reflect because I'm the type of person, I guess I'll share my business. I like to self-reflect a lot. It's a thing that I do. I find that something that we should all really do, but everyone doesn't always feel that way. So I like to self-reflect. I like to, like, sit and really look at myself and say, what's going on? And I realized that, you know, I don't want this to sound crazy, but I looked over at my year. You know, it's October right now. I mean, it's not October. It's November. We're going into December. You know, I like that. And I was just feeling like it's time to reflect. So I looked over at my year, and I noticed, like, I felt kind of stuck. I was in the same place mentally for the majority of this year. I was still, like, doing stuff, and obviously, like, my life appeared to be a certain way online, on Instagram, on here, on everywhere, even in person. And I'm blessed. I'm happy with my life. A lot of things can always change, but I'm not complaining and saying, like, oh, I'm unhappy and all of that stuff. But I realized, like, I am in the same place. I've been in this place for a while, and mentally, and I just need to really grab a hold of this and make some very much needed changes. And I realized that I couldn't do that while still being, like, online, YouTube, you know, my blog and all that stuff, because I know that I was getting to a point where I knew I had to post, I knew I had to be consistent, you know, the algorithm, if you disappear for too long, all this stuff. But I was like, me needs me right now, and this is now kind of controlling me, and this is something that I always say about social media. I love social media. I think it's a great thing. I wrote a whole blog post about this, so if you want to kind of get a little insight on how I look at social media and how I view it, I'll plug it here. But I think it's a great thing. I've always thought it's a great thing. I know a lot of people complain about it, like, oh no, it's ruined our generation and all that stuff. But I feel when used the right way, it's great. But it can obviously still have a negative effect. And I was realizing that it was affecting me negatively. Like, I was so consumed with, I have to put this work out, I have to create content, I have to do this, because if I don't, then I'm gonna, and then I start comparing myself. And I was really like, this is just very toxic. And I spent too much time on here. There's a whole real world out there. I need to find balance. I need to gain control again, because I always said I never want to be that person where my whole world is social media, and if I don't get enough likes, I'm gonna be mad for the whole day. I didn't like that I was getting into that place. I was like, ooh. I was like, who are you? Like, this isn't me. yes, granted, I'm human and I realize that, but I also just, I said to myself, it's time to back up. Like, back up and take a hard stop. Just like, this is enough color. This isn't it. You know, that's not what I wanted it to be. And I didn't like that it was having that kind of effect on me. So I left, right? I left and I learned some things. I learned kind of, you know, the importance of knowing when it's time to regroup, but also I realized I cannot find my smaller one and this is really going to annoy me. So, let's go in with Mystic. It looks a little bit closer in color. I realized that I you know, when you take a step back, you realize, oh, I really need this break. I wanted to I'm still in the process of rebranding, I guess. That's definitely something that's still happening. So I don't want to be like, oh, you rebranded? I didn't notice anything different. But this really became like muscle memory for me. Like I was just doing it because I've been doing it for so long, and I felt like I was lacking intention and purposefulness. I wasn't being purposeful. I wasn't really, you know, paying attention to what I was doing. It's kind of like I'm just doing this because I know I need to. And I did not like that. Like, that's not like me. It's so, you know, it's so funny. Really quick side note. Whenever someone's doing a smoky eye, it's crazy how it transformed. Because right now, I look a little scary. I'm a little scared of myself right now. But it'll come together. So it was just, I wanted to be more intentional. I was like, what's the whole purpose of you doing this? Like, why are you doing this? And I was reminded of the reason why I started. Now, I don't think I talked about this so much on YouTube. My mission statement or whatever was revealing your beauty from the inside out. So I talk about fashion a lot. If you follow me on Instagram, you know this. Like, fashion is a thing for me. Obviously, my hair is a part of it. My beauty routine and everything is a part of my life. But I didn't want it to just be the outward beauty. I think that, especially in today's generation and just the way that we are, it's good to focus on these inner things. Like, all this stuff on the outside, it's not always going to be there. It's certainly not always going to look the same. And the whole point of me starting the blog was to shine light on that inner beauty. And that was my purpose, like the purpose of my blog, my purpose. And I realized I kind of diverted away from that. Not intentionally, it's just like you get caught up in like, I gotta just do a video. Like anyone who's on YouTube, you know, like sometimes we're just like, I gotta create content. I don't know what I'm creating content for, but I gotta post something, and I'm not really thinking of like, how is this gonna impact somebody? It's more just like, I gotta get content out there, and this is what we're gonna do. I knew that I wanted it to be back to that purpose and focus of, you know, really finding that inner beauty. Because I also think it's a confidence thing. I say this all the time, but like, me and my friend have this conversation because she's a stylist. It's like style is very different, can be very different from fashion. I don't like that this is so white. I need it to be a little bit more pinker, a little bit darker. Ooh, it's pigmented as H though. Oops. So style, you know, it comes from an inner confidence, your style, and that's what sometimes shows. It's why, like, I love Fashion Bomb Daily. They'll show 2 outfits, and you can tell usually who we say wore better, it's the person you can tell that this is stemming from a place of, like, I'm comfortable and confident in who I am. And that's what style is. It's coming from the inside. Like, you could wear anything. We can all wear the same thing, but it's going to look different on different people because of how they're embodying the piece, and that's coming from a special place. So I knew that was something that I wanted to focus on, and I moved away from it. Now, it's funny because I would say in my personal life, it's still there. I'm going to plug this here too, because why not? And one day I'm believing that it's going to be something bigger. But I do a quarterly, which reminds me I have to send those invitations out, a quarterly kind of clash or get-together session at my house for young girls between the ages of 9 and 13. And this idea kind of came about because I remember having a dream when I was younger about being surrounded by, let me do the other eye. Started from a dream that I had of me like being surrounded by little girls, and this is the foundation I'm using. This is the new Fenty. I hope that it matches because I have the darker shade in here somewhere, but I don't really know where it is. I had that dream, and it really just became a desire to just focus on their inner beauty. I think that, you know, my generation, we were exposed to a little bit, but social media wasn't around. So while, yeah, you have like kids making fun of you and picking on you and telling you how you should be, that only really happened in school. And at home, your parents kind of shaped their own narrative. But I feel like with these young girls, like, they are exposed to so much more than I was. Like, even TV was around for me, but my mom controlled that. She was like, y'all are going to stop watching this. No, you're not allowed to watch this. And, you know, kids have phones. They're on their own. And, yeah, you can put restrictions, but it doesn't mean that they're not exposed to things and hearing things and how they should be and how I should look and what my waist size should be. And I want a waist trainer. And I'm like, you're like 7. What are you training for? So I really wanted to have a space for them where they can not only come together to, you know, change the narrative, but also just see the beauty in other people. So basically what we do is each quarter I have a DIY project that I do with them. As y'all know, I like DIYs. And the whole purpose of that is to, you know, not only to just have something fun to do, but it's also to, I find that it helps boost their confidence a little bit because you're making something, you know, this is mine and I made it and it looks this way, and kind of finding what colors and stuff I want to use for my project. It's like a proud moment. That's how I sometimes feel after I do a DIY and it's successful. I'm like, wow, I really made this. So I wanted to instill some confidence in them, but I also wanted them to recognize like the beauty in other women and other people's things, and that doesn't necessarily take away from yours. So we all do the same project. I do it with them sometimes I do not. And the reason is so that everyone can see, you know, they bounce their ideas off of each other, but mostly it's like they create their own thing. And then at the end we kind of like talk about everyone else's. And it's usually there's a scripture that connects to each session, but I give a moment to kind of like, oh, well, what do you like about this person's and what do you like about hers? And because I think society, especially with women, we're always kind of pitted against each other, and I wanted them to have an understanding of, you know, you can be different and still be beautiful. Focus a lot more on qualities that aren't just physical, you know, like your mind is a beautiful thing. You have all this creativity, and look at this creative thing that you made. And also just allow them to kind of be, you know, encouraged and strengthened by other women or girls their own age. And I also do, you know, it's a good space for them to talk. I try not to dive too deep because I'm like, I don't want to have to, you know, I don't want to have to give life advice, but I wanted them to feel like this is a safe place where they can kind of speak about stuff. Sometimes we talk about school. Sometimes, you know, oh, this happened to me at school. I didn't like this, my grades, yada, yada, yada. And also, it's just that age group, like that 9 to 13, I feel it kind of gets lost in the sauce. I know I did as a child. That was kind of a time where I felt like I'm aware of the world now. I'm not so young that I'm not aware, but I'm also not at a place where I think the focus is. I know in middle school is sometimes where we kind of, you know, people and parents and mentors and stuff, you focus on the kids because it's a transition period, as is high school, as is college as well. But this younger age, I feel like because they're exposed to so much more, they get lost inside. I just love this foundation. Lost inside everything, and it's time to you know change the narrative. And I felt like for them, I could help do that. So, and because of how much it just being with them really reminded me of my whole purpose and my motto of focusing on, you know, inner beauty and changing the narrative. That's like really my thing right now. Is society's always going to have an opinion. I'm sorry, y'all. This light right here, ooh, so much better. I'm like, I can't see that light reflecting on the side of my face. I'm like, are we even? Trying our hardest to change the narrative on our own because society's going to say whatever they want. And I really don't feel like letting them decide what's you know, what parts of me are going to be in for season, you know? Oh, if this is what's in, if right now, fuller lips are in, but in 10 years, we're all going to want our lips to shrink down. What? I believe that we have a certain amount of control, and I think what we can't control, we just try and change. So my whole desire for these meetings with these girls is just to give them a better perspective and a better way of looking at, you know, the world and themselves. And because there's no way to avoid the world, you know, or society, I guess, the way the world views things. There's no way to avoid that unless you're sheltered and you don't turn your TV on and you stay in your house. And sometimes it's not hard to not be affected by it, but I think having the ability to know that there's another narrative that I can claim, there's another, you know, viewpoint is important, in my opinion. It's something that I think is so very, very, very needed right now because, you know, we're all so different in so many ways. And that's these young girls, when I get them, like, I'm like, you guys are the same. Yeah, you're all the same age, but super different. And I'm like, wow, I've known you for some of them I've known their entire lives. And I'm like, they're from my church, by the way. I didn't know this about you. Like, you're really, you know, you're super smart. You're really creative. You know, you want to be this when you grow up. And all these differences that are good things, like, that aren't, it doesn't have to just be a one size fits all type of way of being. Like, if this is what's in, then that's the only thing that could be in. Yeah, that's my whole tidbit. And actually, I'm going to ask for advice right here on that. If any of you know of any like organizations for young girls, please do also just drop those below, because next year I'm really hoping to bring it to another level. I've spoken to other people who know that I do, and they're like, oh, I really wish you would do this like in my area, or could I bring my daughter? And it started out a little smaller because I didn't want to take on too much and not be able to kind of handle the situation. I didn't want it to be like I'm neglecting some of the girls in the room because there's 25 girls in here, as opposed to with my sessions, it's like no more than 10 of us. No more. Probably like 6 or 7, to be honest. But I do want to take it to another level, and I kind of want to start to look to partner with nonprofit organizations, either for young girls or for children. It's really something that is heavy, heavy, heavy on my mind and my heart, I guess you could say. And I really want it to be something that, let's just stay right here, because sometimes I contour way too low. And I'll be looking at it later like, what were you trying to achieve? Like, what was the attempted goal? Because your contour line is in the wrong spots. It's in the wrong spot. So we can stay right here. Yeah, I guess that kind of is where it is. So I'm looking for organizations. That's my whole point. Something that, like, I really want to take to another level in 2020. I've been doing it for 2 years. I'm going to give you my whole background in this. There's also another blog post. So if you have a young girl who's in the area who's interested, definitely reach out to me, because like I said, next year I do want to open it up to be more for just anyone. I'm gonna give you the rundown of it. You know what I do now and why I do, but basically just the breakdown of it. The name kind of ties into the creativity level of it. I actually like to blend out with this because it's a lot better. So there's a name for it. Like I said, it's 9 to 13. I am Christian, for those who aren't aware of that. So there is a kind of like a biblical or spiritual aspect of it. It's not the whole goal of it, but I do always believe in bringing God back into the conversation. So there's usually like a verse that we analyze, and sometimes it's very specific. I know we've analyzed verses about young people, different things. So there's a verse and there's a craft every time. So that's what we do. And then we have like a moment where it's just kind of fun. It's usually like 2.5 to 3 hour sessions is usually what it's like. And then they go home. But that's like the whole spiel about what it is. Very much a good time for me to connect with them, and also I also get a lot of ideas. They're very, 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 very smart, intelligent young girls. Oh, yeah, that's the timer. Okay. Really, that means I need to speed up. Because you see, I talk with y'all and then I'd be forgetting what time it is. I'm going to finish this, come right back, and then I'll do my hair and we'll chat. Okay, guys, I'll be sure to tag what I put on after. I just wanted to show you this last step of what I do with my hair. So I'm in this like blowout phase right now. I just blow out my hair once every 2 weeks. But I really don't believe in like having the top of my hair be full like this and the bottom be straight like this. So I like to take Diva Curl's Diva Fresh, which is a scalp refresher for curly hair. And I like to spray that on the ends because this will help them revert a little bit. Fresh isn't only for curly hair, guys. So you see the ends kind of got a little frizzy here, which made the shape a little bit better. Ready to go. Thank you guys for joining me. Here is the final look for my eyes. And I have unkissed lashes. Like I said, all of the stuff that you didn't see me put on, which was like really blush and lipstick. And my lashes, I will link that below. Everything will be down there for you in case you want to do this look. Thank you guys for just, you know, sitting, and if you made it all the way here in the video, for listening to me, and I hope that everyone's doing really well. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you in my next video.